During a high school class project, my teacher told me it's unrealistic being a CEO. It's been my dream to be a CEO since I was 10. So I told her, it is realistic. Follow me on my journey to learn what it takes to become a CEO. Welcome to another episode of the Realistic CEO podcast. Today I'm here with Kashawn Sanders. How are you doing today, Kashawn?
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me down. I've seen nothing but great reels, videos of this. I'm super excited to be here.
Thank you for coming on today. I appreciate you being able to take the time out of your day to allow me to interview you. So thank you.
Of course.
The first question I want to ask you is, can you tell us a little bit about what you do at your foundation?
Of course. So at Follow My Steps Foundation, we're a customized youth mentoring organization. We mainly deal with high school age youth to early college. And the idea is, and I always ask everyone this, is imagine if you could mentor younger youth. All of the words of wisdom, the network you would introduce to that younger you. Follow My Steps is that opportunity for mentors to give back, for people in the community to give back. In addition to that, we talk about financial literacy. We make sure that we talk about health, and that's not just physical health, which we have our youth Step Up fitness program, but it's also mental health as well. So things like that are paramount in a person's success because, quite frankly, when you're doing long, lonely, boring work, you got to keep moving forward. You got to have that mental fortitude, and we understand how important that is. To show youth different career paths and have them have somebody that's already been there, done that, it's very impactful. And because of that, so far we've mentored and impacted over 10,000 youth to date.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to how you got to where you are today?
Yes. If you would have asked me about 6 years ago, would I have been running a nonprofit, I would have looked at you like you had 5 heads. But the work sometimes calls out to you, and it's up to you to take your headphones off and listen. It was around April of 2020 when myself and the vice president, Tyrone Williams, we got together and we started talking about just what was going on. That was at a time of the pandemic, but also social unrest with things that were going on. And we challenged each other, like we always do, for ways that we can change, ways that we can impact the next generation. And then from that, Follow My Steps was born, because we actually recalled our senior year of college, or last year of college, rather, we had this professor, and the professor tasked us with getting an internship. Mm-hmm. And so the professor goes out and she's announcing it to the class, hey, listen, fill out this paperwork, submit it for an internship credit. And we're in this auditorium style class. So we're probably we're way towards the top. And as soon as she finished that sentence, we both graduated from UMass Dartmouth. It's not diverse whatsoever, just being honest. And we looked around at all of our peers, and our peers just lit up and said, oh, I'm going to contact my uncle, my dad, my cousin. They had this network of people that they can contact, and they knew it instinctively. It's freaky to us. And we were like, why is it that we're finding ourselves in a realm of not having this Rolodex of people to contact, these individuals that we can reach out to? And we remembered that moment in 2020, and we said, why was that? Did we not work hard enough? Are we not smart enough? Was it something that was a class we missed? And the answer was, no, it was none of that. It was the fact that when you have individuals that are growing up in lower income communities, you're worried about the next day. You're worried about maybe getting through the end of the week, but you're not worried about a bigger time frame of how important it is when you meet this person to continue to foster to continue to build that relationship, to continue to follow up with them, because later in life you might need them. So for us, we realized that when you're worried about survival, that trumps anything else. So that's why we call our overall mentorship program Thrive Over Survive, because we want to increase that lens and that impact for the youth.
How were you able to find the mentors to the point where you already helped 10,000 youth have mentors and develop their careers?
Regardless of what anybody says, word of mouth, it still holds paramount. So it's the work that we put in. It's showing individuals, inviting individuals down to programs that we hold and say, hey, listen, this is what we're doing. I want you to come check us out. Don't just take my word for it, but just come check us out. And then just sharing it with friends and family. And then that's how we've been able to get a great mentor pipeline, a huge community, support from the community, and a list of community partners that we hold dear, because they got to see the work. They got to be a part of the work. When people see the result and they're a part of the impact, they're a lot more bought in than just somebody just trying to sell you on a dream or a vision.
What are the steps that it takes to starting your own nonprofit?
So one, I always say you got to have a team. You got to have a team because you can have a great vision, but if you don't have the team behind it, I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to get burned out. And here at Follow My Steps, we have an amazing team, from the VP to treasurer, all of the directors and the roles they play, and the board members. You got to build a solid team that's going to be able to help you impact change, because you can't do it all. And any business owner will tell you, because essentially a nonprofit's a business. And to us, it's a harder business because it's not necessarily you're selling a service, but you're selling the impact, the goal, the vision, and you're always asking for funds to then support that, right? To then give it back to the youth, because we're not looking to get rich off of this, right? Everyone on our team is a working professional, which makes it even tougher because everyone has their own schedules to manage. Anyone that's going to start, they got to make sure that they're committed. They got to make sure they build a team. Got to make sure that everybody holds that vision for the nonprofit paramount above anything else. And that recommitment's always got to be there, because every single time you grow and you get bigger, right, bandwidth gets a little tighter, right? So you start mentoring more youth, and guess what? Now there's more responsibilities. There's another kid that's looking to everybody on the team to make sure that they impact change, make sure that we deliver on what we're saying. It's another promise we got to uphold. So that recommitment is always got to be driven home.
What is the mission behind your nonprofit?
Follow My Steps is geared towards providing youth in under-resourced communities with financial literacy, professional development, community engagement, and tapping into their best self.
And how have you been able to help the youth so far?
I've played a very small role. I don't try to overestimate my role. The youth that we have in our program are amazing. They're driven. The team that we have is amazing. So for us, it's just, for me, my role is just to continue to be passionate about it, continue to be a champion of the cause, and not put myself before anything else. So when I meet with the youth, I'm sitting down with them, getting to know them. I'm taking notes. I'm learning more about them, because at the end of the day, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So that's always been paramount, and that's rung in my head. So I want to make sure that each and every single time I'm talking with a youth, I'm speaking with them, they know that I'm listening, that I'm going to challenge them, that I'm going to be there for them. But I know that my role in the organization is no bigger than anyone else's.
So you talked about the internship when everybody had connections or knew somebody that they can call. How did that make you feel in that moment when you realized, like, wow, these kids already understood that networking was important? So taking that experience, how were you able to develop your networking skills?
So it made me feel like I was behind, like I missed something. Like, how did I not have this access to people, right? And what that did was, I'm a competitive person, and I'm very driven. It's just my upbringing. It's the way my mom raised me. She's very driven. She's hungry, and she was my first mentor. So the way that I looked at it was, it's a problem that I need to solve. How do I get access to these individuals? Oh, I have to go out there and talk to people. Wow, that's scary, right? Networking is scary. It can be very tough. So what I did was, I put myself out there, and I failed. I had to learn through failure. I had to learn through talking to somebody, stumbling through words in a conversation, making a complete fool of myself. And then, but slowly but surely, I realized, oh, I'm not going to say that next time. I'm going to say this, and I'll see what works. And then I started reading, and I started practicing my dialect, how I talk, and then changing things up, and then just practicing with friends and family. But I would love to say that it was easy, but it wasn't. It was a lot of grit. But at the end of the day, I learned through my bumps and bruises, and I learned from others too.
So how could somebody find a mentor?
Finding a mentor is a lot easier than what most people think, right? It's first starting at the root of what their ambitions are. So if you're looking to be the next restaurant owner, there's plenty of restaurants in the area that people frequent. Knowing that you're not that far removed from that mentor, and then tapping into your circle. So if you know an individual that works at a restaurant, hey, can you introduce me to the manager? Can you introduce me to the owner? And then just building on those relationships, but knowing that at the root of everything, when somebody introduces you to someone, you need to cultivate that relationship and keep that going. Because it can't just be where, oh yeah, I just use that person just to get this knowledge, and then I'm not going to talk to them again. That's not a relationship. That's transactional. Nobody likes anything being transactional. You wouldn't like somebody just to come and talk to you for a quick second and then they never talk to you again. They got you inspired, and I would say, wait, so what's the next step? So for us, it's teaching individuals how to build a relationship to get to a mentor, because that's going to be a relationship that keeps going for the rest of your life. You may not always be in contact every day, but you have that person to rely on, and vice versa.
So you talked about when you first started out going out networking, it was scary to you. So how were you able to get over that fear of going up to people and asking for relationships and networking?
My fear of failure wasn't greater than my passion to be successful. So when I'm a type of person and I have these grand dreams and I have these goals I set for myself, the fear of me failing didn't outweigh the fact that when I went home and I laid my head on my pillow at night, that I'm still seeing this vision of my own success. And I'm nowhere closer if I just dial it in and I don't go and talk to that person. So I knew that I can keep trying to watch this TV screen or TV show, if you will, in my mind, or I can make that a reality. And in order to make that a reality, I have to go out and I have to get better at this. So whether it's just going to be me going through these painful conversations, going through practicing in the mirror, talking to different individuals for tips, identifying individuals who do it on a great level, right? Talking to peers and just noticing stuff in your peers and being humble enough to say, hey, listen, you're great at this. You're good at this. Can you show me this? Can you show me what you do? How are you so comfortable? I had to humble myself. Because, and a lot of people, that's a scary thing, right? When you have to come to somebody and ask for help. Because sometimes we're not taught that, right? We don't grow up that way. But it's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength.
So I actually do want to create a nonprofit as well. What is some advice that you would give to starting your own nonprofit?
For anyone looking to start a nonprofit, reaffirm to your cause. Make sure that this is something that you know that's going to provide immense impact. When you reach out to people, make sure you inspire them. Motivation is temporary. Inspiration can last a lifetime if done correctly. So make sure you inspire them to the mission and then have everybody continue to buy in. Because as you continue to scale up, you need to be prepared for the fact that people that may have started with you don't always end with you because they've provided the impact that they can give, and you need to constantly retool, constantly bolster the team around you, right? And that just comes from being a great person, talking to other individuals, figuring out individual skill sets, and making sure everyone's in their best role. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the individual, it's about the overall impact. And if we have an organization that doesn't have everybody in the role that they're championing, that they're passionate with, it's just gonna seem like work. And the problem is, we're in it for the long haul. We can't have anybody looking at anything like work. It's looking at it like, wow, I cannot wait for us to launch this program. I cannot wait for us to deliver this impact. So just make sure when you build that team, everybody has that in mind.
What has been the biggest lesson that you've learned so far of owning your own nonprofit?
That you're always learning. You're always learning about the industry. You're always learning about the landscape as far as the funding piece was different. I went from being an individual who I will work 1,000 hours a week if it was possible. But you can work as many hours as you want, but you still can't get enough work done, right? You still can't do everything. You need to have a team there. And being humble enough to know that there's just things that you just don't know, and you need to ask for help, that was the biggest thing because I couldn't do it all, right? I can't do it all. No one can do it all. If there's thousands, like I told you, over 10,000 kids, can I be with 10,000 kids in each day? No, and have a full-time job? No. But what I can do is we can build a team. We can get everybody to champion, to get more mentors, to get more people involved from the community, and we do it by community. It takes a village. That was the most humbling experience for me, was challenging myself to go out, ask for help, go out, say, hey, I'm not good at this. Hey, can I pick your brain for a second?
What has been your favorite moment so far throughout this whole experience?
I have a bunch. One of my favorite moments was going to our first youth graduation. And every year is great. Every year is great to see a youth cross the stage and graduate high school. But the first one, that made everything more real. Because I remember just embracing that gentleman and then just saying, wow, look at the work that you just did. That thing in your hand right now, no one can take from you. You have that for the rest of your life. That's something that not everybody has. What's your next step? Mm-hmm. Having that moment, that was priceless. One of the other areas that I look back at constantly was looking at where we started. All my steps, everything was on a Google Doc when we first started. We listed out our goals and our dreams, and then to take a step back and see where it's become and the impact, man, it gives me chills every single time. So every single time I have low energy, I think about where we started. And then think about where we're at now, and I'm like, get right back to work.
You talked about how, as a nonprofit, you were looking for funding. How are you able to negotiate with people to make sure that you're getting the funding that you need?
Getting them down at the events, inspiring them. We're a very transparent organization. We said that just don't take our word for stuff. Come down, check us out. See the work that we're saying that we're doing with your dollars. You can see how it's being orchestrated. You can see how the impact of the kids. You can talk to the kids, right? We want to be very transparent. We want to show parents that, listen, we are doing the work. We care about your kid. We care about every single kid, everybody in the organization. We want to see them move forward. And that's top to bottom, right? We're always talking about perpetual growth. We're always talking about keeping things interesting to the point where we're challenging the status quo, adding more programs. We do at least one program every single month. And we've done that since inception. When I say that, it is, trust me, it's a lot of work and preparation because it's not like we're planning it month to month. We're planning so much stuff in advance. But we do it because we don't want idle hands. We want the youth to know that, listen, we're constantly challenging you in different areas, whether it's our Steps to Success, which is professional development series that we hold monthly, financial literacy, our weekly fitness program. So things like that, we challenge the status quo. We challenge the norm. We want them to be better. We want them to challenge themselves. Because now, if you're constantly challenging yourself and you're constantly your biggest critic, what does anyone else's opinion matter? You already know where you want to go. So that's what we love about it. We love the team and we love the atmosphere and the environment we create.
When it's either you're looking for to build off on your team or you're looking for mentors, what are some characteristics that you're looking at in the person?
Passion, putting the mission before themselves. We don't try to reaffirm the fact that it's work. You're talking to a youth. I can't put a timetable on how long it takes you to actually unearth the layers behind that individual because everyone's different. That may take somebody an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, however long it takes, but we need to make sure the individual is willing to put in that time. Because once that relationship is made, and if it's broken, that's detrimental to that youth's ability to trust somebody to then ask for help. Because now they let down their guard and somebody just decided, it's not the right fit for me. So when we look at an individual, we say, are they passionate? Are they willing to put in additional hours where they're not looking at a clock? Because it's not what we do. We're all about having lifelong relationships that can help that youth grow. And then eventually when they grow up and they're at their level of success, they can pass the baton and pay it forward to somebody else, to the next generation.
But you talk a lot about relationships. What are some ways that you're able to make sure that the relationship keeps on going, even though, like you said, you might not talk to them every day, but how are you able to make sure that relationship keeps on going? So
when you think about your life and the friendships that you made over time, what makes you still reach out? What makes you still talk to your friends and stuff like that? It's because you built a rapport with them that transcended just anything transactional for knowledge. Now I'm actually interested in what they're doing and their walk of life and with what they have going on. That's the relationship we build. To the point where it's not just, I'm getting knowledge from you. It's, but how's your wife? How's your kids? How's your career going? And it's vice versa. By the way, I took what you learned, or I took what you taught me about this, or you introduced me to this book. Have you tried this book? I really enjoyed it. I think you would enjoy it too. Starting to create that relationship, that rapport building, that keeps everything going. Because then the minute stuff happens in life, individuals want to share that with people that they know that will value that information.
So how do you walk away from a relationship that might not be for you?
For the youth or for just anyone in general?
Both.
So I've always done this where I put individuals in certain groups in my life. And I do that for a reason. So I have individuals that, quite frankly, will be friends that you can hang out with, have a great time, but they're not necessarily friends that I would talk business with. And it's not a knock on them. It's just, that's not the nature of our relationship. So when I put people in different groups, what it does is it allows me then to not put a strain on a relationship, making somebody into something that they're not, putting them in a role that they're not. So you wouldn't talk to your business friend about, hey, let's hang out, let's play Madden all day or whatever. But at the end of the day, when you want to play Madden, you know who to call. You have a great friend, you have the rapport there. When I know it's time to walk away from somebody is when I know that I'm no longer looking to be in that group. I'm no longer looking to play Madden. I put that down. I'm a family man now. I'm the founder of a nonprofit. I need to wear these hats, and I've stopped doing certain things. So when you outgrow certain groups or certain circles, it isn't a negative thing. It's just that you continue to evolve and change as a person. And when you realize you're no longer doing those activities and doing those things, it's time to walk away.
So in my book, I Am a CEO, Realistic CEO. You talked about the LBW earlier as well in the book. Tony talks about it as well. But so can you tell us about the long, lonely, boring work that you have to do day to day in your career?
Yes, so it's emails, contacts, reaching out to funders, asking for support for initiatives that we launch. It's the meetings, the stuff that no one sees, no one knows behind the scenes. So when we take kids out to eat, we say, hey, listen, you do know that's provided by funders' money by the constant emails, the calls that we had to do. And we'll do it 1,000 times out of 10, right? So every single time we'll do it because we know that the benefit of what that long, lonely, boring work is, right? But as we continue to evolve, it's the following up with parents, the text messages. It's those things that people think that are minor, but they provide great impact. Even reaching out to a kid on their birthday and just say, hey man, what are you doing? What are your plans? Reaching out to them right before a big test. Hey, how do you feel? Before an interview. Stuff behind the scenes. Seems minor if it's not done. It's okay, they didn't text me about my test. No, that means a lot, right? But that adds up into building the relationship.
When you're going out and like you said, you're emailing, getting funded and all that, and then you're going to these events, how does that make you feel when you see all the hard work that you're putting in to make sure that the events you're planning for the kids are successful?
Man, I would love to tell you that every single event, newer event that we have, that I don't have butterflies in my stomach as far as making sure everything's executed. I do. That's just a part of planning for anything. We want to make sure everything is mapped out and goes well. But when you look out in the crowd and you see all the supporters and all the people that took time out of their day, man, that just fills everybody in the organization, including myself, with joy because they're bought in. They could have stayed home. You're telling me that you wouldn't want to be in a warm bed with pizza or whatever food of choice versus now you came out to an event. Now you got to see the impact. Now you believed in something so much that you made the effort to get down there. For us, we love that. We really appreciate the support, but that makes the LBW all that much more important because now it's like we have an obligation. Somebody believes in us. Now, when somebody believes in you, you don't want to let that go. You don't want to let them down. So now it's not just the obligation to the youth, it's the obligation to the people that come out and support the organization. And as we continue to grow, we understand the impact of that even more. We always are looking for more people to add to the team that share that vision, that share the impact, to constantly challenge the status quo.
So you talked about you have to go emails and you got to talk to the funders to get to these events. So like what is like the real details behind everything to make sure that the events actually are working smoothly?
Attendance follow-up, always making sure people are coming, right? Trust me, even when it comes to youth, that can be a lot more challenging because trying to make sure that they can get down there, their family members can get down there. For instance, like our banquet, when we're acknowledging youth. Not only do we need to confirm them, we need to confirm their parents. We need to confirm community partners. We need to make sure that we have awards or scholarships that we have issued. We do a nice recap video. We just had our event at the Basketball Hall of Fame. It went over really well. But now it's making sure that all these points are in place so we can talk about the work that we've done, right? And getting individuals down there that haven't seen our work either. And we want to invite more people down to then see the impact, right? And then be a part of the change for future programs and events. It's always picking up the phone. It's more than just emails, because emails can be a bit static, but it can be just, hey, let's grab lunch. I wanted to talk to you about this thing that we have coming up. What are your ideas? We're constantly evolving each and every single event on program, and we're challenging what we have as far as expectation. So we build a different plan. We do our own analysis, and we say what worked well. What is something we can leave in the past? And that's part of that LBW, because those are hours where we're just troubleshooting. We're brainstorming together. We're looking at analysis, surveys. We take surveys after every event, and we're saying, listen, let's fine tune this thing. Let's finally arrive to the point based off of experience, based off of the feedback, to the point where we know we're providing the biggest impact we can.
When you're at the events and you're getting the feedback, what are some ways that you're able to make sure that you know something doesn't work, but you're able to tweak it, like you said, to make sure that it works for the next event?
Asking the youth, asking the people in the audience. They're going to tell you, but just embrace them. Listen, we want the honest feedback. Don't just say something nice or just give us 5 stars or whatever, 10 out of 10, just because you don't want to give us harsh criticism. We want that, right? Feedback is paramount to growth. So if you don't know what you're doing wrong or what you could do better, right? Let me rephrase that, what you can do better, then how are you going to grow? It's something that you can't see. When somebody gives you feedback and we do the surveys, that's like them holding a mirror to you. When you don't have any mirror around you, but now they're giving you a mirror. You're like, oh, wow, yeah, let's do that differently. Just asking for it. And people generally respect that. They want to know that when people are asking them for their opinion, that wow, that means my opinion matters. That means that my input matters, and that goes a long way in our growth as an organization.
How are you able to make sure that when you're asking people for the feedback, you're not making it seem like they have to give you, like you said, positive feedback, but how are you able to make it feel welcoming to a point where you can just be straight up honest with you?
We just with our banquet, we got on stage, and after we did our presentation for recap videos and had a speech, we said, listen, as part of our organization, we are constantly looking to improve and get better, leave things that didn't work in the past. If you can so kindly, could you please take a second to complete the survey to provide us some feedback? We welcome it. That's how we get better. That's how we continue to expand and increase our outreach. Just by making it in an environment where it's not pressured, where we let everybody know we're actually humbled to be able to receive your input, and everyone feels more bought into it.
If you were able to go back to your 18-year-old self and give yourself advice, what would you tell yourself?
If I can go back to my 18-year-old self, and I'm looking at him and I'm giving him a few words of wisdom, the first thing would be there's no shame in asking for help. There's no shame in going to somebody and saying, hey, listen, I don't know this. I don't know anything about this. Could you help guide me? That's the essence of any relationship, and that's how you grow, right? We're always accustomed to always getting knowledge presented to us, right, from school, right? The teacher just comes in, the lesson's given. But what about in the real world where we're out and about and there's something we don't know, and that's not being covered in school? So we have to go out, we have to get that information. So training your mind to ask for help. The second thing is understanding the importance of a team. Understanding the importance of you can't do everything alone. You may be able to do it now, but as you continue to grow and scale up with anything in life, it's always better to have a team. For a big example, if you're in a gym, is it easier to constantly work out when it's snowing and doing all these other things by yourself? Or is it easier to do that with an accountability partner, somebody that you know that's going to push you? If you're on that bench, that you're doing that one more rep and it's a competition. So putting yourself on a team with the right team. The next thing would be for everybody is just to learn how to take a step back and reflect and be honest with yourself, to understand areas of improvement. That was one of the more challenging things for me because I was always so gung-ho and I was always ready to move on to the next thing. But I didn't realize that the thing that I just completed, I could have done better, right? So being able to sit back and say, listen, what do I want for myself? How can I improve upon certain areas? Reading was a big thing for me, and constantly seeing different points of views and perspectives from the authors, and then being a part of different groups, honestly, like networking. That helped me in my development so much, and it's still helping me in my development because I'm still learning. I'm still constantly pushing myself forward. But that reflection is huge.
I just got one more question for you.
Yeah.
What's one fun fact about yourself that nobody really knows?
One fun fact that nobody really knows. Sheesh. Man, that's a great question. I would say one fun fact that nobody really knows about me is I am a huge music fan, like huge. I listen to different genres. It helps me wind down as far as my mentality. But I consider that a fun fact because you could probably name 1,000 different artists, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I could give you at least 3 to 5 songs from each and every single one of them. That's how extensive it is. I've always appreciated creativity, and I love creativity in music. Game shows, name that tune. Don't go up against me. It's not gonna be a good day for you.
A couple months ago with the Drake and Kendrick Lamar, who do you think won that?
Lyrically, Kendrick, I'm a Drake fan. to be honest, but lyrically Kendrick, right? He came prepared. He had a plan, right? And when he put together everything, he strung together his responses in a very calculated way, right? So he didn't just get on the microphone randomly. He did the long, lonely, boring work behind the scenes to make sure that he knew his opponent, right? And that kind of shows in as far as his last album, right? And how he delivered that. It just goes to show you that LBW in everything, in every facet of life, every career path. So it's evident. You can see who does it and who doesn't.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Realistic CEO podcast. I appreciate all the support that everyone has shown so far. Ways that everybody can support even more is by going on to realisticceo.com and purchasing a book for yourself, your grandchild, or even your child. Why it's important for you to purchase is not only are you able to experience the story of Tony and feel inspired, but also for every book that you order, we match and donate to someone in a lower to moderate income communities. With that being said, the goal is to get the book into at least 500,000 kids in lower to moderate income communities in the next 5 years. See you in the next one. Peace.